So let's just begin by closing our eyes and just becoming aware of your breath. Become aware of your breath. Tune in to your breath. See if you can allow your breath, your inhale and your exhale to be connected, full. And when you exhale, let it go. And see if you can imagine the path of your breath like a figure eight with a symbol of infinity. Just connected, inhale, connected to exhale. I want you to see if you can use your breath to focus your mind in the right now. And see if you can use your breath to slow your brain waves down, such that the pattern of your breath might match the pattern of your breath. The brain waves in your brain matching the pace of your breath. And using your breath to quiet your mind. Using your breath to comfort and soothe your mind. Sometimes our brains can become quite frantic, and we can use our breath to communicate to our brains, it's safe, we're safe, there's no danger, it's safe to relax. Let's go ahead and ask for a quiet mind. Since we can ask for anything, I ask for a quiet mind. I ask for the quiet mind. What does a mind feel like that's quiet? And notice how when your mind is quiet, your body lets go. Your body surrenders into the peaceful present. And I want you to explore the quiet mind for a moment. What does it feel like? Are there any images there? Are there any voices there? Any messages there? And don't forget to breathe more deeply into the quiet mind, using your breath to anchor the quiet mind, to anchor the peace in your body. Imagining the peace coming from your quiet mind, penetrating every cell in your body. Quietness entering every cell in your body. Every cell at peace, quiet. We're letting our quiet mind comfort our frantic mind, reminding our frightened and frantic mind, you're safe now. It's safe to relax now. Instruct your brain and your nervous system. It's safe to relax now. You are safe. And feel peace. Feel peace coming over you like a blanket of surety and protection. This is how we calm our mind and heal our bodies. Beautiful. Just take a couple more deep healing breaths, cleansing breaths. Allowing that peace and that calm to set in your body and in your mind. Creating a real foundation for peace. And then when you're ready, give a silent prayer of gratitude to your internal teacher, your internal healer, who brings you peace. And then when you're ready, open your eyes and yawn and stretch and bring your awareness back to the round and back to your body. Ooh, yummy. That was called Peaceful Evening. All right. Yeah, it's on. All right. Hi, you guys. Okay. How was that for you? Was that as good for you as it was for me? No? Oh, well. Okay. Okay. So we are on a section, it is the last section in the clarification of terms. Right. So it's the last section in the book, and it's called Epilogue. So it's after the teacher's manual, and it's after what's after the teacher's manual. It's after the clarification of terms. It's the very last section in the book before you get to the supplements. Okay.
Page 91.
Thank you. It's called the Epilogue. Does anybody know what epilogue means?
After the
Me neither. I think it has something to do with the ending or the last of something.
She said it right after the end.
What'd you say?
It's
Just after the end.
after the
And
end.
thank you, it's right after the end. You thought that was the end, but it's not. Here's the real end. Okay, that's the epilogue. Yeah. All right. And I have read this section many times. I have taught this section many times. And tonight, you know, the Spirit just said, do the epilogue, do the epilogue. And normally, my perception of the epilogue is that it's like a commencement speech. It's like a graduation speech. It's like, I always heard Holy Spirit going, all right, you've come this far, you've done great, you've finished the text and the workbook and the clarification of the terms, and you know, all right, you graduated from the course, you did it. And then there's the commencement speech like you get after you graduate, you know, college or whatever, right? And so I thought, oh, well, that might be a nice New Year's section to do. Like, oh, you graduated 2013. It's a miracle. I mean, I don't know about you, but you know, 2013 had some interesting moments to it. And but you know, and as I was reading it, I had a totally different experience of it. And when I was reading it, what I really heard this time was I heard Holy Spirit addressing these weary, worn out travelers on this long road who are just like, will it ever end? Will I ever make it? Have I gone anywhere? Have I done anything? You know, 2 steps forward, you know, 3 steps back. It was like, when I was looking at it this time, it was like he's addressing the part of us that feels like maybe we failed and maybe we haven't accomplished anything. Maybe the part of us that feels some despair. I've been walking this path so long, but I don't even know if I've really done anything or gotten anywhere, and I feel like I've failed somehow. And I never really saw that before. And as I was reading it, I was like, you know, interesting, Spirit, because I realized that Spirit was answering a perception that I have been having recently in the last few weeks, where I was having this perception like, God, is it just me, or am I seeing a lot of despair around? And maybe it is just me, but it just seemed like, you know, for some reason, either there's just a lot of despair, or I'm seeing a reflection of some part of me that's just like, have I done anything? Have I accomplished anything? Have I really come far along this road as I thought? Right? That part that's tempted to give up, you know, I've been doing this so long and I still have these same problems, and oh my God, what's it all been for? You know that feeling where you feel like, you know, and and so I'm reading and I was like, wow, he's talking to us like people who have been on this journey for a long time, and we've been on a long time and we're having this despair. He talks to us as if we're experiencing despair, doubt, forgetting why we're doing it even in the first place. Why did I get on this path? You know, all these feelings that someone who's been on a path for a long time might feel after they've been on it for a long time and haven't reached the end yet. Right? All those feelings. Like, is there an end? Really? Is there? You know, when you've been on a path and you're tired and you can't see the end of the path and you're like, I don't even know if it does end. I don't even know if I'm going to make it. Have I made any progress? Right? So really, he's talking to us like that in this section. And as I was reading it, I realized that I had been hearing a lot of despair and seeing and feeling a lot of despair around me. And also part of me too was feeling that within my own self, like, God, what have I accomplished? Here we are at the end of another year. And what do I have to show for it? Right? Anybody had that thought here at the year's end? Okay. What's the point in making a New Year's resolution? right? You know those feelings, self-doubt, forgetting why you even started this journey to begin with, okay? Despair, have I even accomplished anything? How far off is the ending really? All those feelings that come up when you've been on the road, and our teacher is addressing all those feelings of the weary traveler. The weary traveler who's just not certain about anything anymore. Can anybody relate to those feelings? Self-doubt, despair, feelings of failure. What have I accomplished anything? I don't even know if there really is an end. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I dedicate this section to all the weary travelers who have traveled another year on this path, who might be wondering if they have progressed at all and are tempted to give up, right? And I know I just went through several days of being just like, forget about it. Forget about it. What is the point, right? And so I realized, oh, well, okay, that's why I'm seeing that around me, because I'm feeling that within my own self. And so he offers this epilogue to remind you of the progress you have made, and the road you are on, and your guarantee of success, and what you have accomplished, and what you have done, and how you are certain to succeed. You are certain to succeed. He says, once you have begun this journey, once you stepped on this path, as represented by the Course, it's as good as done. It's already, as a matter of fact, oh yeah, it's already done. Your journey on this path, it's already done. You already hit the finish line. You have. You just don't remember it. And so he's reminding us to give us hope, to give us encouragement, so that we won't despair and so that we won't give up. And he's saying, look, don't give up right before you get to the end. You know, which we are tempted to do, right? When is it that you are tempted to give up? When is the temptation to give up the highest?
Near the end.
That's exactly right. Darkest hour is always at the dawn. The darkest hour is always what? Just before the dawn. Thank you. Exactly. So if you are in that place of despair, futility, depression, I forgot why I'm even doing this, what have I even accomplished? This is for you. As a part of me. Okay, so if you are feeling those feelings, please know that there's a very good chance that means you're right before the dawn. Meaning, what dawn? The dawn of a new year. The dawn of a new world. The dawn of a new awareness. The dawn of a real change, where you can really look back and go, that year really was different. That year really was different. A new year, a new dawn, a new age, a new awareness, a new world, right? And so, if you are in that place of deep despair and futility and self-doubt, please know that you may be right there. And that this is the speech he gives us to make sure that we go on one step further, okay? All right, so, epilogue. Don't forget, once this journey is begun, the end is certain, okay? Once you start on this path called A Course in Miracles or the Atonement or whatever you call it, once you start on the path of the Course in Miracles, the end of the Course is certain, okay? Your end of this Course is certain. Hallelujah! There's an end to this Course? Great. That's good to know, because it didn't look like it. It seemed like it went on forever. And then he says this, something else you need to know. Doubt along this way will come. I don't know if you've noticed. And then it will go. And guess what? Then it will come again. Okay, so just know that. Just know that. Doubt's going to come, and just because doubt comes and goes doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. Just because doubt comes and goes doesn't mean you're doing the wrong thing. That's part of the journey. Don't think that just because you're having doubt, that means that you are somehow failing it, or you're on the wrong path, or you're doing it wrong. That's just part of this particular journey. It's going to go, it's going to come and go, and come to go again, okay? So don't be dismayed by the doubt that you may feel, okay? Then it says, yet is the ending of this journey sure, it's certain. And that's because no one can fail to do what God appointed them to do. You can't fail to do what God appointed you to do. God appointed you to be on this path, right? It's no accident you're on this path, and God put you on this path, and you can't fail. You cannot fail. You cannot fail A Course in Miracles. Isn't that good to know? There's sometimes I'm just like, I have failed the course. I have failed the course. Yeah, I took that course and I failed. Yeah, I failed it. Yeah, I took it, I failed it. What about it? Isn't that great? Isn't that nice to know that you are taking a course that you can't fail? The second you start it, your ending is sure, and you can't fail it. You can't. Yeah, maybe you're going to have doubts, and maybe you'll have despair, and maybe you will take your time, and maybe you'll take the scenic route. But you can't fail it. Now, how many courses can you say that about? Isn't that nice? Once you have started it, the ending of it is certain, meaning you cannot fail it. Wow. That's nice to hear, eh? Okay. And he says, you cannot fail to do what God appointed you to do, which is to walk this path. Path meaning curriculum. Now, when you forget, not if, when you forget what? That you can't fail. You know what I just said? Forget what? When you forget that you cannot fail this path or this course, when you forget, remember this, you walk with God and you walk with His Word upon your heart, right? That's what you're supposed to remember when you forget that you cannot fail. When you think you can fail the course, but everybody else can do the course but me. I've been trying to do that workbook for so many years. When you forget that you cannot fail this course, this path, when you forget you can't fail to do what God appointed you to do, you need to remember that you walk with God. You walk with God, and His Word is what is upon your heart. It's in there. It's emblazoned on your heart. It's tattooed. God's Word is tattooed. Remember talking about tattoos. God's Word is tattooed on your heart. You can't get it off, not even with surgery. Not even with a heart transplant. Okay, so that's what you're supposed to remember when your ego says, you know you can't do this course. You know you can't succeed this course. You know you can't finish it. All right, and he says, now, who could despair when hope like this is theirs? Okay, can you despair when you've been given that hope? What hope? I cannot fail to do what God appointed me to do, which is to walk this path. And for me, it's walk the path as outlined by A Course in Miracles, right? But that path may be different for other people, the path that God has appointed them. The Course in Miracles is a curriculum, which also means a path. This is a curriculum that is a path. Isn't that? It's a spiritual path. It's a curriculum. Okay? And what this curriculum does is it puts you on a path. It puts your feet on a path that once your feet are on it, you can wander a bit, but that's the worst you could do. That's the most you could do. Wander off a bit, but that's the worst you can do. Once you're on this path, you will return to this path and you will complete this path. That's the kind of path it is. And this kind of path that you're on, God put you on it. And so, no matter what you tell yourself about, I can fail, I'm not good at it, I never finish anything. No matter what you tell yourself about your success on it, you cannot fail in it because God appointed you to do it. Wow, that's encouraging. He says, now if you accepted that, could you experience despair? Could you experience despair? Could you experience that feeling of futility and depression? I'll never do it. What's wrong with me? I'll never get it. I'll never get there. Could you experience that kind of despair if you remembered that? Okay? So he's asking us, please remember that tonight. Please remember that when you are tempted by despair, when you're tempted to give up. Okay? And he says, and also, here's what else is going to come and go. Illusions of despair may seem to come. Right? So first he tells us doubt's going to come and go, right? Now he's saying despair also is going to come. But what does he call despair? An illusion. He says despair, hey, listen, after you have started studying the course and you've said, this is my path, this is what I want. The only kind of despair that you could have after that is an illusion of despair. Wow, isn't that interesting? Illusions of despair. You know, I never stopped to think that my despair is an illusion. Isn't that interesting? I'm experiencing my despair. I'll never make it. I'm such a failure. I never finish anything. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't get it. I can't get it. I can't do it. He calls that an illusion. And when I'm experiencing that, I think that's real. I think that's the only real thing. I think the moments when I feel successful, like I can do it, and I'm hopeful, I think those are the illusion. And he's saying those moments when you feel like a failure, and like your failure is certain, as it's always been. He said, that's an illusion. Once you're on this path, I don't care what you tell yourself. I don't care how long you take. I don't care how much despair you feel, or depression, or hopelessness, or doubt. That is an illusion because once you start, your completion is guaranteed. That's good to know. That's so good to know. That means that once I put my feet on that path and I say, I want it, yes, that has to mean that God's the one who takes me forward and completes it for me. Because otherwise, if it was me having to stay on the path and find my way and stay motivated and stay inspired and stay with it and do my lessons every day, it would never happen. Ever. Right? So if he's saying that once I put my foot on the path, my success is guaranteed, that also has to mean he's the one that once I get on it, it's like once I step on it, I have this image of something, it's like you're stepping in something and then someone or something is pulling you, right? Like a ski thing, like a ski gondola. You set in it and then the cables pull you. All you have to do is once you sit in the gondola, the cables pull you up the mountain. Same thing on this path. Once you sit in the seat of the Course in Miracles and you say, I want to be on this path to God, to peace, then boom, you're in it, and then the cables start pulling you. And all you have to do is don't jump out. Don't jump out. And don't torture yourself mentally while you're being pulled up the mountain. And that's what despair and doubt and forgetfulness is. I'm in that gondola being taken up the mountain, but I'm sitting there telling myself, I'll never make it, I'll never make it. It's like, being in the ski gondola, and you're being pulled up, you don't have to do anything, but you're sitting there telling yourself, I'll never make it to the mountain, I'll never make it up to ski, I'll never make it up the mountain, I'll never make it up the mountain. But there you are, being pulled up all the while. Okay. So, then it says, here's what he wants us to know about those feelings of despair. Has anybody had any feelings of despair lately? Anyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll never make it. I don't know what's wrong with me. I may as well just give up now. And just take the pleasures when and where I can. And pay the price for them. Because my death will pay the price for all those pleasures anyway. That's despair, by the way. Okay, that's not being realistic. He says, when despair seems to come, when you feel despair, learn how not to be deceived by it. Learn how not to be deceived by it. Wouldn't it be great to learn how not to be deceived by despair? Despair tempts you to feel depressed, feel bad, feel like a failure, you'll never make it, you should give up. And you go, oh, that's nice. And you are not deceived by it. You've learned how not to be deceived by it. You go, that's an illusion of despair. I'm not going to give up on myself. I'm not going to give up on this path. I'm not going to give up on my goals. I'm not going to give up on this goal. I'm not going to give up on my path. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to be deceived by despair. Wouldn't that be great? Despair tempts you. You know you'll never make it. You know you've never finished anything ever before. You can't even finish the workbook. Right? Despair tempting you. Just give up. You never make it anyway. Oh, even if you did, you're going to fail again. And despair tempts you, and you've learned not to be deceived by it. You don't go, oh. You learn, he says, learn how not to be deceived by it. Wow, isn't that interesting instruction? Okay, good. I'd like to learn how not to be deceived by my despair. I'd like to learn how not to be deceived by my temptation to give up and turn on myself. I would like to do that. How about you? All right.
So when I have my doubts and despairs, that's really me thinking I know what's on this path and where I should be and what I'm going to encounter.
Yes.
I'm judging where I'm at by how I think it should be, when in reality, if I knew what was on this path, I wouldn't need it.
Exactly right. If you knew the truth, you wouldn't fall for it. I mean, I think the first thing he's wanting us to do is to make some kind of association like that goes like this. Despair, feelings of failure, doubt equals deception. And like to somehow make that association in our minds and also wire that in our brains neurologically somehow. So that when we have feelings of failure and self-doubt and despair, that we go, oh yeah, that means that I'm fooling myself. That means I must be very close to accomplishing my goal. Oh, and to somehow, because that could be the only way you wouldn't be deceived by it, right? Is if you learn to associate feelings of failure with a lie, with a deception, so that you go, oh, I feel like a failure. Oh, I must be lying to myself. Boy, would I love to make that association. One time, I have feelings of failure come over me. I should have gotten it by now. Everybody else has it. I should give up. I'll never get it. Everybody else has. Everybody else has gotten it but me. What's wrong with me? I'm defective. What you say?
How do you generate the energy to step through that illusion and get back to your center?
Exactly. How do you not be deceived by it? Well, he goes, you learn it. Learn how not to be deceived by it. Learn. So it's a learning. And that's what this curriculum facilitates. Because this curriculum goes, okay, here's how you do it. I want you now, every time you experience feelings of failure, or self-doubt, or wanting to give up, I want you to associate that with an illusion. I want you to remember that that really means that you must be very close. And I want you to keep going And I don't want you to stop. I don't want you to stop reading the Course. I don't want you to stop praying and meditating. I don't want you to stop going to class. I don't want you to stop reading the Course. I want you to just keep on, keep on, keep on. Okay? Did you have a question?
There's a temporary comfort in giving up.
I know. I know.
A peace, and it's not the same as accomplishing, but
That's exactly right. There is a false comfort in the feeling of giving up. You know, in psychology we call it learned helplessness. In the face of something I cannot triumph over, I just go, I surrender, I give up. And somehow that protects me, somehow. Not, but we've learned, it's a learned helplessness. And he's saying, learn how not to be deceived by feelings of failure, which means despair. It doesn't matter, I'm not going to accomplish it, I'm not going to get there, I'm not going to succeed, no matter how hard I try. Look how much I've done, and it hasn't amounted to anything. Doubt, despair, feelings of failure. And notice how it's the first thing he touches on. He's like, when doubt comes, when despair comes, when forgetting that you can't fail comes, you know, it's like he wants us to like go, look, I know how it is. You know how it is when you're on this path. It seems long. It seems like you'll never get there. It seems like you never get there because you're defective. You don't have what it takes. And, you know, who knows if there really is an ending anyway, right? He wants you to know, I know what it's like. And I don't want you to give up. I don't want you to be deceived by those lies that come on the path, back to home, back to peace, back to yourself, your real self. Don't give up. Don't be deceived. Don't give in. When your ego starts talking to you, don't give in. Don't believe it. Don't believe it. It always says the same thing. You'll never get there. You'll never get there. There's something wrong with you. And just give up now. And just take the pleasures when and where you can, and don't worry, your death will pay the price for them. Right? That's what the ego says. And he wants you to go, I want you to know it's an illusion. I don't want you to be deceived by it. And here's what I do want you to remember. Every single time those feelings of failure and self-doubt and despair come up, here's what he says he wants us to remember. He wants us to remember this. Behind every single one of those feelings of failure and despair and self-doubt is reality and God. What? Whoa, what? Where is God? Behind every single one of those feelings of failure and despair and desire to give up. What? Wait a minute. I'm on the verge of a mental breakdown of despair and depression and self-doubt and giving up. And you're telling me that right on the other side of that is reality, meaning who I am, and God? What? Wow, that's what he's saying he wants us to know about despair. Who knew? You know, I have this perception of those feelings of failure and despair as that's real. And everything else, all those other little accomplishments, that I've had, that's the illusion. That's the deception. My total failure, as always, that's real. He's saying, all those feelings of failure, what I want you to know is right behind every single one of those is your reality, meaning who you are, and God. Okay, I didn't know that. I wouldn't have thought that. Must be true.
and I don't have to figure out how to get on the other side. I just have to stay on the ride.
All I have to know is behind this is my reality and God. That's all I have to do. Course in Miracles said behind this feelings of failure is reality and God. That's it. I don't have to believe it. I don't have to believe it. If I could believe it, I wouldn't have feelings of failure. I wouldn't have despair. I wouldn't have doubt. And it's interesting, you know, it's like there's something about this section and right at the end of the year, right? Right at the end of the year. It's like, you know, where for me, those feelings come up of like, you know, well, so what? It's the end of it's going to be a new year. Who cares? It's just going to be a replay of the old one. I've done lots of New Year's resolutions. I've done lots of goal setting and intention setting. I've been doing this course a long time, right? Those feelings come up for me at the end of the year or the beginning of a new year. I don't know about for you. It's like, oh, let's set some New Year's goals, la 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 la. But then in the back part of me is despair. Like, what's the point? How many years have you done that? How's that worked out for you? Right? Okay. So to me, it's interesting that it's perfect for me for an end of the year, the last class of the year for me. Okay? All right. So he's telling us what to do with feelings of despair and feelings of failure and doubt about the path you've chosen. Okay. Remember, don't be deceived by them, and behind each one of them is reality and God. Now, he says, why would you wait for this, your reality, your real self, and God, everything? Why would you wait for that and trade it for depression? I love my depression. I love it. I love my depression. It's been there for me. Right? I would trade reality, my reality, and God. I would trade that to have my despair, my feelings of failure, aka my depression. Why would you trade your reality for your depression? Like someone says, hey, behind your feelings of failure is who you are, reality and God. Would you like that? And we're like, no.
We want to be right.
Okay. All right. But that's me. You know, the Course is like saying all the time, right behind your depression, right behind your pain and your guilt and your anger and your sadness and all your feelings of failure is reality and God. Don't you want it? And I'm like, no. I would rather be depressed. It's my friend. And the Course says it is. It's your chosen friends. Depression and grief and sadness are your chosen friends. That's what the Course says about your sadness and your grief. They're your chosen friends. And he says, why would you wait for what's behind the depression and the feelings of failure? Why would you wait for that and trade it for your depression when God's love is but an instant farther on cursor. Someone read it for me.
On the road.
Thank you.
Where all illusions end.
On the road where all my despair ends. Thank you. Why would I wait for that? Why would I wait for that? Why would I wait for the joy and the aliveness and the success and the value and the worth? Why would I wait for that? Why would I wait for that and choose my feelings of failure instead? When just a second more down the road, a second longer in time, is my feelings of complete worth that was established by God. Why would I wait for that? Why would I wait for that when it's only a second down the road? It's like this. If you knew that your total sense of worth and success and accomplishment and value was 5 minutes down the road, wouldn't you wait for it? Wouldn't you not give in to the depression and the futility? Wouldn't you, if you knew your complete fulfillment was 5 minutes down the road? You'd be like, that's okay, depression. I got everything waiting for me 5 minutes down the road. Interesting. He says.
To choose that, we both have to really want it, not
Yes.
want a depression, and we'd have to feel that we deserved it.
That's right.
And I think a lot of us, those two questions, we think we do, but
That's right.
I'm
Exactly.
not sure that we feel that deserving, and I'm not sure that we want it that bad.
Exactly.
We have to give up how we see ourselves.
Exactly.
But
And-
we're conditioned that way as children, though.
That's exactly right. We don't know what's 5 minutes down the road. We don't know what's a moment more further on. And that's why we have our teacher in this curriculum who has a bigger picture of the journey that we're on, because our teacher already made it. And so that's the value of the teacher of this curriculum. The teacher's like, look, I've been on that road, I did it, I've been on it. Take my word for it. Don't give up. It's right down the road. Don't give up. Don't kill yourself. Don't jump off the path. Don't take a detour. Don't go off the path. It's just around the bend. Don't do it. Don't give in. Don't be fooled. Don't be deceived. Don't leave the path. You're almost there. That's what our teacher is like saying to us. I know your feet are bleeding from the rocky road you've walked. I know you're tired. I know you despair of ever getting to the end of this path. I know you're afraid you won't be able to make it. I know. But listen, just a few more steps, a few more minutes down the path. It's there. It's real. I'm telling you, it is. And that's what our teacher is telling us. That's what he's trying to tell us in here. Don't give up. When your ego says, just give up. Just give up. You don't even know if there's an end to this path. Right? You know, don't listen to that voice. That's what our teacher's trying to, he's giving us he's trying to encourage us. He's giving us the ultimate cosmic pep talk. Don't give up. Don't give up just before the miracle. I know you're tempted, but don't give up. You're almost there. You're almost home. You know.
Well, I noticed this path is one of following. You know, as I said, follow me.
Yeah,
I'll take your hand and lead you along. You don't have to know anything.
exactly.
We are really not used to that.
I know.
We feel much safer being in charge and deciding things. We think we're going to learn this and then, okay, I got it from here.
That's exactly right. We're like the little
I think
kids.
that's what we're always trying to do is, okay, I want to stop following now, I got it. And he said,
Exactly.
no, you're always following me.
Exactly.
Because you don't know where you're going.
Exactly.
Only I do.
And we're like the little kids like, are we there yet? Are we ever going to get there? I think I would like to make my own way. I know I could get there faster than you, teacher. And then we like do a little jog around our teacher and go in front. And we're like, follow me. And then next thing we know, we're lost in the dark forest. In a nightmare. Surrounded by monsters who want to eat us. Okay. All right. And he says, why would you wait for this and trade it for illusions when love is but an instant farther on the road where all your despair and depression end? He says the end to the despair and the doubt and the sense of failure and the feelings of futility and the confusion and the impatience, all of that, the end of that is sure, which means what? Guaranteed by God. Hallelujah. Are you telling me the end of my feelings of failure and self-doubt and despair, the end of that is guaranteed? That's what he's saying. It's guaranteed. The end of that is guaranteed. Are you saying the end of my self-doubt is guaranteed? Really? Because from where I look, it looks like my self-doubt's going to go on forever. It looks like I'm going to doubt myself forever. To me, it looks like I'll never get to the point where I'm like, I don't doubt myself. I can't even conceive of a state of mind where I'm not doubting myself. my worth, my value, my power, my ability to succeed. You know, can you imagine? And he's saying, not only is it for real, it's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. The end of the journey where you're like, who am I? Where am I going? What am I? What am I doing? Am I good enough? He's saying the end of that journey is guaranteed if you'll just stay on it. Wow, that's helpful. He said, the end is sure and guaranteed by God. And so, who stands before a lifeless image when a step away, the Holy of the Holies opens up an ancient door that leads beyond the world? Wow. Okay. Here's your options. You can stand before the lifeless image of your pitiful, depressed, failing, never accomplish or finish anything self image. The one who doesn't do anything right, never finishes anything, ain't sure of nothing, and ain't ever going to complete anything. You can stand before that lifeless image, or when a step away, the holies of the holies opens up a door for you that goes beyond the world as you know it. Wow. Let's see, which door shall you choose, Monty? What was the name of that game show? Thank you. Make a deal. Behind this door, you have eternal self-doubt that you will ever succeed and make it anywhere. Ever. Because you know how you are. Remember your past? Or behind this door, a step away, the Holy of the Holies will open up an ancient door that will lead beyond this to a whole nother world where there is no possibility of failure ever, in any way, shape or form, ever, at all. Let's see. Can I use a lifeline?
Yeah.
Don't call your boyfriend.
Is that part of our doubt? We hear the words, but we don't really believe it.
That's exactly right. It's exactly right. Well, he's telling us what our situation is. Like, here we stand before two options. Here you stand before two options. And, you know, here's the option that goes nowhere except where you've been, which is nowhere. And here's an option where you can go through a door into a whole nother world where you could never doubt yourself again, ever. And he's like, what's the problem? Why are you waiting? Why are you hesitating? Why are you sitting there going, yeah, right? He says, that's what we're doing. It's funny when you see what it is we're really doing. All right. Okay. He says, well, another reason why you may be experiencing some kind of despair or depression or self-doubt here is because you are a stranger here. Oh, that's true. That feeling is real. Anybody ever had that feeling? I am a stranger here. I don't really fit in here. Anybody ever had that feeling? Like maybe in childhood, looking around, I don't really fit in here. Right? If you've ever had the feeling of being in the world and you feel like you don't fit in, like you're a stranger here, I don't understand them, they don't understand me. He says the reason you may have experienced some despair and depression in your life is because you are a stranger here. This is not your home. And so it makes sense that if you are not in your home, that you might feel a little depressed sometimes. Right? Okay. He says, you are a stranger here, but you belong to him who loves you as himself. Nice. And so all you have to do is ask that one, which one? The one you belong to who loves you as himself. The one you belong to who loves you as himself. the one you love, the one you belong to who loves you like yourself. In other words, your Father, your Creator. All you have to do is ask that one to help roll the stone away, and it is done according to His will. Nice. I feel like a stranger here. I don't feel like I fit in. I don't feel like this is my home. But please, one to whom I belong, who loves me as Himself, please help roll the stone away. Wow. What stone? Oh, you know that stone that's in front of your tomb? You know that stone that's like this in front of you that you think entombs you into your past? You know, that stone in front of you that you think guarantees that your future will be just like your past? You know that stone in front of you that seems to guarantee that you will never break free of your self-doubt? You know the one? You know that stone? Right. The stone that is in front of you that makes it seem impossible that you ever be free from self-doubt. That you ever accomplish what's in you to accomplish. That stone. Pretty big, huh? That stone seems big, doesn't it? And that's the stone that seems to entomb us in our past. And so when someone says, you could have a life different from your past, you're like, yeah, right. Like, mm-hmm, that's nice. I've heard that before. I always hear that on New Year's. Mm-hmm. That stone. He says, the one to whom we belong, who loves us as Himself, says, just ask my help to roll that stone away. And it is done according to my will. Wow. Okay, so that's a nice instruction that I didn't think to do today, eh? Oh, okay, I will ask Him to help roll the stone away that makes me seem like I am entombed in my past and doomed to repeat my past. Because I'll never change. I've tried. Right? Okay, so that's an instruction. Then it says, we have begun the journey. We have. We're on it. You're on it. You're on it. You've begun it. You're on 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 it. You have begun it. Okay? Remember, he says once it's begun, the end is certain. So just in case there was a part of you that was wondering if you were even on the right path. Anybody had that fear lately? Am I even on the right path? Am I even warm? You have begun the journey. You are on the right path. You have started on it. You are on it. Okay? So don't let your ego tell you that you're not even warm. He says, you have begun the journey. And not only that, but long ago, the end of this journey was written in the stars and set into the heavens with a shining ray that held it safe within eternity and through all time as well, and holds it still, unchanged, unchanging, and unchangeable. Okay, what is it that was set into the stars, safe within eternity, through all time, and held there, unchanged, unchanging, and unchangeable? What is it that was set into the heavens with a shining ray that held it there forever?
The end.
The end. The end of what? This story. This journey. What journey? The journey that you're on where you're like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what my value is. I'm always questioning my worth. I always doubt myself. I don't know if I'll ever accomplish anything. I'm always doubting myself. Will I ever become anything? Will I ever do anything? Who am I? What am I? Maybe I'm nothing. that journey where you start on the journey to the point where you get to the point where you're like, oh, I know what I am. I have certainty about what I am. My worth is established by God, and it always has and always will be. End of journey, end of self-doubt. That journey. What's the journey? The journey from self-doubt and feelings of failure to self-certainty. That journey. The ending of that journey. Isn't that great to know? That I've already reached the end. I've already hit the end of that journey where I'm not doubting myself anymore. I'm not like, who am I? What am I doing? Am I a failure? Am I okay? Am I lovable? Am I okay? Am I not? What's wrong with me? That journey. You know, oh, maybe this will make me better. Oh, maybe this will make me lovable. How about I do this and this will make me lovable? Oh, years down the road, now I'll do this and that will make me lovable and valuable. That journey. From total self-doubt and all the things I do to make myself lovable and valuable to the point where I go, oh, I was created by God. My worth is established by God. It's set into the heavens. It's unchanging and unchangeable, and so it is, and that'll never change. No more self-doubt. That's the journey. From self-doubt to self-certainty, which is the peace of God. Wow. And he's saying that the end has already been written. It's already set in the heavens, unchanging and unchangeable. So it's not like I have to worry that I'm gonna fail to be what I am, or accomplish what I was meant to accomplish, or fulfill the destiny that I was given. That's impossible. It's already done. It's already a done deal. Oh, wow. Imagine if you really accepted that the end of that journey is done. You've already accomplished your acceptance of your worth as established by God. And you've already gotten to the point where you don't ever doubt yourself, ever. You don't ever fear your own failure, ever. Can you imagine that state of mind?
Wonderful.
And he's saying it's already done. It's already done. And you can't mess it up. Oh, thank you for telling me I can't mess it up. How often do you hear that? Don't worry, dear, you can't mess it up. How often do you hear that message? You can't mess it up, don't worry. Don't stress, you can't mess it up. Don't be anxious, you can't mess it up. Don't worry, don't stress, you can't mess it up, it's done.
He's telling us again what the Course principles that, things that are certain are eternal. They have to be.
Exactly.
And all illusions have to be temporary, they're of time.
Exactly.
So that it cannot, anything that isn't certain, cannot last forever.
That's right.
Only eventually you have to see what is there forever.
That's exactly right. Thank you. So if you're experiencing uncertainty, then you're experiencing something that can't last forever. I love it. If you're experiencing self-doubt, then you're experiencing something that can't last forever. And you think about it, all of our anxiety and depression and fear and worry is all about this belief that I can somehow mess it up and fail. My destiny, or what I'm supposed to do, whatever that is, I can mess it up, I can fail. I can fail to accomplish it. And it's all about that. Oh, I got to try not to fail. I got to try not to mess it up. I hope I don't mess it up. Oh, I think I'm messing it up. I'm certain I'm messing it up. Right? They said I'm messing it up. Right? It's all of our anxiety and stress and guilt and fear and ambition. It's all about, I hope I don't mess it up. I hope I get it right. And he's saying, look, relax. You can't mess it up. The end is certain. The end is written. You have already gotten to the place where you accepted that your worth is established by God. It's already a done deal. So just relax and let yourself be led by one who knows the end is already written in the stars. Take its word for it. Right? So when you're like, when your ego's trying to tell you that you mess it up, and you've got to worry about messing it up, and you want to accomplish it, and you could fail it, and you should worry about failing it, and you might have failed it, and maybe you already did fail it, then he's saying turn to your teacher, turn to your guide, and let your guide remind you, no, that's a deception. That's a deception. That's some part of you trying to terrorize you for nothing. Don't fall for it. Stay on the path. Stay on the path. Stay on the path. Right? Because when you're worried about messing it up and you believe the deceiver telling you, you gotta fix it. You gotta make it right. You gotta make sure you don't mess it up. You gotta do something. What it does is it takes you off the path. It takes you on a detour where you're going to try to make yourself better. You're going to try to make yourself better. You're going to try to make yourself not fail, right? So what you do is you take yourself off the path that you're being carried upon by your teacher, and you do this little detour. You know, and the detour goes like this, round and around and around and around and around and around and around and around, and nothing happens except you feel more despair, more depression, more futility, more guilt, until finally you go, oh, I just want to die. And then you surrender because you've run yourself into the ground. You know the feeling? You just surrender just because you don't have even the energy anymore to try to fix it. And you surrender, take me now. And then your teacher goes, are you done? Why don't you just come on back on the path and let me do it for you, okay? And then our teacher pulls us back on path and then carries us down the path. All right, so, well, then he says, another instruction for us on the path. He's talked to us about fears of failure. He's talked to us about self-doubt. He's talked to us about despair. He's talked to us about forgetting. He's talked to us about wanting to give up. And now he says, and don't be afraid. Okay, good. So go on in and throw that one in there. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be anxious. Don't be depressed. Don't have despair. Don't be self-doubting. He says, and don't be afraid. Why? Why don't be afraid, teacher? Well, because we're only starting again an ancient journey that we've begun long ago that just only seems new. The path you're on right now, it only seems new. It only seems like you're on a new path that you could possibly fail. But that's an illusion. It's an old path. You've been on it. Don't be afraid. You've been on this path a long time. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry you're going to fail it. Don't worry. You've been on it a long time. It only seems new. He says, we've begun again upon a road that we've traveled on before, and we lost our way a little while, and now we try again, right? Now we are in this lifetime like, oh, this is a new path. I hope I make it. And he's like, look, you've been on this path a long time. Don't worry about making it on the path, okay? The only thing that happened was you did a little detour, that's all. You lost your way a little while, and then you came back, and that's where we're at now, okay? You've been on it before. Don't worry about losing your way. You've been on this path a long time. He says, and now we try again. Now, he says, now that you're back on the path, he says, our new beginning has the certainty that the journey lacked till now, okay? So in the past, or let's just say the past year, in the last year, our journey had what? It lacked certainty. There was a lot of self-doubt going on, okay? And now when you get back on the path, he says, you don't, okay, from this point forward, tonight, from this point forward on your path, maybe called the Course in Miracles, maybe called something else. From this point forward tonight, your path on A Course in Miracles is going to have the certainty, it's going to have a certainty that your journey lacked before. So now you're going to be on this path and you're going to be like, well, I can't fail, may as well just enjoy the ride, may as well just relax and be loving and trust and remember to do my workbook lesson, right? From this point forward, you're traveling along this curriculum and this path will have certainty. You won't be tormented by doubt and feelings and fears of failure. Nice. So let's just say from this year forward, as this new year begins, your new year will have the certainty that the past years lacked. Doesn't that sound nice? Okay, so I want you to see the path from this point forward as the year ahead, the new year ahead. Okay? So, he says, let's just read it like this. Our new year has the certainty that the past years lacked till now. So, now, given that, instead of looking down like this, what's wrong with me? Or like this, if only I could go back. Instead of that, he says, I want you to look up. Don't look down, don't look back, look up. In this new year, look up. Don't look down and don't look back. Look up. Look up to what? Look up and see God's word among the stars, where he has set your name along with his. And I want you to look up, and I want you to find your certain destiny, not your questionable destiny. I want you to look up and see your certain destiny that the world is trying to hide from you, but that God wants you to see. Wow. How would you like to see your certain destiny instead of your questionable destiny? I know you'd like to experience that, but yeah, right. That's your questionable destiny. Wow. So, if you look down or you look back, all you will see is a questionable destiny. I'd like to experience that, but, nothing's ever happened to, make that seem possible or realistic. But if you look up into the stars, you will see your certain destiny, the destiny God gave you, that God put in the stars for you, that you will accomplish. What's a certain destiny? Something that you're going to accomplish, like it or not. Something that you're going to accomplish. Something you're going to become. And it's guaranteed, like it or not. Try to delay all you want, but it's a done deal. It's what you're going to become. It's what you are. It's what you're going to accomplish. It's what you've already accomplished. Wow. That's what you'll see if you look up. So in this new year will have a certainty of your purpose, a certainty of your accomplishment of your purpose, a certainty of the path you're on, a certainty of where you're going, a certainty that it's already done, and that it's going to happen, and you don't need to worry about it. That is what this new year will contain, that the last years didn't. And you will see it for sure if you'll just look up instead of down and back. Isn't that beautiful? What a beautiful New Year blessing. Love it. And he says, now I love it. Look up and find your certain destiny that the world is trying to hide. Yeah, the world is trying to hide my certain destiny. That's exactly right. The world's like, you ain't got no destiny. What destiny? You ain't worked hard enough for destiny? What destiny? How arrogant. Right? The world is trying to hide your certain destiny. You know you haven't earned that destiny. You haven't worked hard enough. Who, you? have a certain destiny, right? The world is trying to hide it, and that's how the world tries to hide it. Okay, so here. Now, so now here we are. We have embarked on the journey again. Okay, we did our little detour last year. We did our little detours last year. And look, here we are, back on the path in a new year. We're in a new year. This new year will have the certainty. So a new year has been born. A new portion of the path is before us. So before we embark on our new year and the new path, he says he wants us to do one little thing. Okay? One little thing. Before you step forward into this new year on this ancient path that you have now begun again, I want you to do one thing. I want you to stop here for just a moment. I want you to stay here in this moment for just a moment, and I want you to be quiet. That's what he wants us to do. Stop for a second, be quiet, and then he says, and I want you to kneel down just for a moment in what? In gratitude. To who? To him who called you, to him who called to us, and to him who helped us hear his call. It's just one little thing before you step out into this new year, the path that's before you. Stop a minute, be quiet, silence, kneel down, which means to me, be humble in your gratitude. Be humble in your gratitude to God who called you and also made sure you heard him. That's loving. He called to us and made sure we heard him. So stop for a moment, be quiet, be humble in your gratitude to God who called you and helped you to hear him. And then after you've done that, only take a second, after you've done that, just a second. That's too much. I am busy. And besides, I can't be quiet an instant. That's too much to ask God. Once you've done that, then I want you to get up. I want you to rise, get back up, and then I want you to go in faith along the way to him. I want you to get back up and start your new year in faith. In faith. What kind of faith? I want you to enter this new year sure that you're not walking alone and that God is there with you and all your brothers and sisters are there with you. And I want you to start your new year sure and in faith, same thing, that you will never lose your way again. How about that? Yes?
That line, now we are sure we do not walk alone.
Yeah.
It's when I first read it, I was thinking, we're saying, we're showing gratitude, and in so doing, we know we're not alone. That the giving of the gratitude is saying, is helping us realize we're not alone.
That's right.
Or we wouldn't be thanking somebody else.
Exactly. What are you thanking God for? For calling you and making sure you heard him. You know, right, exactly. But he's like this. Okay, after you've stopped a moment and just be quiet and thanked God that he helped you to hear him. After you've done that, then I want you to get back up and I want you to start your new year. And I want you to start your new year remembering these things and being certain about these things. You don't walk by yourself. That's what he wants us to be sure about. Don't start this new year like, I'm so alone. I'm so lonely. It's like, I want you to get up and I want you to start your new year sure that you do not walk alone this year. And you don't walk alone because God is with you and all your brothers. And also, I want you to start this new year certain that you will never lose your way again. How nice would that feeling be? How would you like to start your new year like that? Thank God I will never lose my way again. I will never lose. Look, I may delay, I may do a little detour, I may skip about here and skip about there, but I'm not going to lose, I'll never lose my way again because I don't walk alone anymore. God is with me and all my brothers. I'll never lose my way again. That's how He wants us to start this new year. Wow.
Is that why the stop for a moment?
Yes.
You can't really feel gratitude except for something real.
That's right.
In other words, now you have your faith to go on. Because
Yes.
you're not imagining it, you've experienced it.
Yes. Exactly.
You can't really be grateful without thinking you experienced something.
Exactly. Until you kneel down in humility for just an instant in silence, until you do that in gratitude, then you will never know for certain that you don't go alone. Because it's when you kneel down in silence and gratitude to the one who called you and made sure you heard Him, it's in that moment that you realize for certain that God is real and is with you always. Right? So then when you stand back up and you move forward, now you move forward in certainty, which means faith, that you're not going alone, you're not alone, you'll never be alone again, you'll never lose your way again. Now, if you knew that you would never lose your way again, where's self-doubt? Where's anxiety? Where's depression? Where's despair? Where's a sense of futility? Where's that oppressive thought that you're a failure and that you will fail? Even if you succeed for a bit, you'll fail again. Where is all those feelings or all those perceptions?
Behind you.
They're behind you. They went to the nowhere from which they came. Wow. And he says, and now that you're walking into your new year with certainty, you'll never lose your way, even if you do a little detour. Now, he says, now what happens? The song begins again. What does that mean? That means, now I hear music again. Remember how when you were little you used to hear music? Remember you would say, you just walk along, you hear music. I know, I love my daughter walks along. She's singing, making up songs, singing. And I was like, oh my God, I used to do that. I used to just sing, bopping along, doing anything, singing, skipping. He said, now the song begins again. So you're walking along and you're like, you're singing for no reason, like my daughter does. Now singing. The song begins again. In other words, the music returns to your life. Remember when you just used to sing for nothing? Remember? I wouldn't have remembered unless I had a child. I would have forgotten that completely. He said, the song begins again, which had been stopped only an instant, even though the song seemed to be unsung forever. He says, and now, what is here begun in this new year, what is here begun in this new year, will grow in life and strength and hope until your world is still an instant and forgets all the dream of sin had made of the world. Nice. The song begins again, and you forget all the darkness that sin had made of your world. It becomes a happy, innocent, safe, beautiful place again. Wouldn't that be nice? Wow. And he says, how about we go out and meet the newborn world? So he says, as this new year begins, I'm putting words in there, forgive me. As this new year begins, I want you to go out and meet your newborn world. As your new year begins, you are going to go out and meet a newborn world. How about we say this? As this new year begins, you're going to go out and meet a newborn life. Would you like that? I would like, as this new year dawns, to walk out into my world and go, I have a newborn life. Look at that. My life is new. My life is new. Go out and meet your newborn life as this new year begins. Knowing that when you go out and you meet your newborn life, guess what? Is that the Christ, your real self, has been reborn in it. So you go out into your newborn life, realizing that your real self has been reborn in your new life. Doesn't that sound awesome? What happened? What'd you do for New Year's? I went out and partied. Oh, really? I went out into my newborn life and found that my real self had been reborn in it.
And I heard music.
And there was music. And the next thing I knew, everywhere I went, I was like, because that is what my real self does when it has been reborn into my reborn life. Wow. He says, and I want you to know that this rebirth, the rebirth of your life, I want you to know the rebirth of your life this year, your reborn life this year, I want you to know will last forever. Well, that's good. I'm glad you told me that, because for sure I'd be like, ooh, when's this going to end? He says, this will last forever. And he says, yes, we lost our way. Indeed we had. But love has found it for us. So let's go out into our newborn life and bid our real self welcome, our real self who returns to us to celebrate the end of all we thought we made. Yay! Now that's a new year. That's a new year. And he says, the morning star of this new year looks on a different life. What kind of life would be different? Oh, one where God is welcome and you with him. We who complete God offer thanks to God as God gives thanks to us. We are still, and in the quiet God has given us, enters our home and is at peace at last. Yay! Happy New Year! Woohoo! Wow. That's an interesting New Year blessing, wouldn't you say? I like that as a New Year goal or a New Year resolution. Like, I'm going to take that as my New Year's resolution. You know why? Because that is completely different than any New Year's resolution I've ever done. How about you? All right. Okay. So let's stop here. Let's do our financial expression of appreciation. Thank you for your financial expressions of appreciation. I appreciate them, and the center appreciates them. Thank you. All right, and I put on your chair a notice for a flyer for the new prayer and meditation class that I'm starting. And I'm starting it Wednesday, January 8th, okay? If you are interested, send me a text if you do texting, or a voicemail if you don't, and ask me for address to where it's going to be. And I will give that to you, okay? And the purpose of this is to learn how to quiet the mind and how to focus the mind so that we can once again use our minds as the very, very powerful, effective tools of creation that they are meant to be. But that they can't be until you are able to quiet your mind and focus your mind, which is the same thing as disciplining the mind. So that's what the class is going to be about, learning how to do that and doing it, and then sending our healing out to the world that needs it. That's what that class is about. It's going to be every Wednesday from 7 to 8 or 7 to 8:30, depending on how I feel that night. So just know that's available. And if you are interested in learning about my holistic counseling practice, go to annakujawa.com. All right, thank you guys for being here,
Was it in this room?
No, no. It's going to be in Wheat Ridge. All right. Okay. So, it is a few minutes after 9. If you do need to go, you are innocent, okay? You are innocent. I probably would run from the room screaming at this point as well. Any questions or comments before we close up? What was that like to hear that New Year blessing, or whatever that was?
Very hopeful.
Very hopeful, right on. Yeah, thank you. It really did give me hope that I could have a new year, a different year. It's like, oh, okay. Now that is something that if I did that, it would be a different year. It would be,
I was amazed that it says, don't look down. Well, there's nothing there but your toes, you know.
yes,
Look up, it says, don't look back. I know when you look back at your past, you can't have doubt or despair or any of those negative things. If you find anytime you're thinking that way, it's because you look back.
that's exactly right.
You have to look at your past to ever feel any of that.
That's right. You have to be looking down or back to feel depression, feelings of failure, self-doubt, despair.
It's always comparing,
That's
and it's always what went before. And if we would just not look that way, we wouldn't have those things in the first place.
exactly. Exactly. You have to be looking down, meaning not seeing what's in front of you and what's around you in order to, and what's before you. You'd have to be looking down in order to not see that, in order to be afraid and full of self-doubt and despair. And I loved how he was saying that the morning star of this new year looks on a newborn world. What kind of world would be newborn? A world where your real self waits for you. Can you imagine? You walk out into a new world and your real self is there. Hey, where you been? I've been waiting for you. Look what I'm doing. Look what I'm creating. Look what I'm being. Look how free I am. Look how happy I am. Wow. All right. I love that. He says, I want you to go out and meet your newborn life. Go out and meet your newborn life where your real self is there waiting for you. Being itself. Not something else it thought it was supposed to be. Or not someone else it learned to be. But just being itself. This is who I am. And it's perfect. It's beautiful. All right. So I want you to close your eyes and just breathe. I just want you to tune into how you feel right now. And after a moment, I want you to take a wee bit of a little inventory of the feelings of failure and self-doubt and despair that you may have been feeling recently or in the last year. Those feelings of never making it, not knowing if you could make it, not knowing if you could accomplish it. So much uncertainty. Can I do it? Why can't I? I just want you to just take a little inventory of those, bring them into your awareness. And then I want you in your mind's eye to look down and ahead to see that, oh, you're still on the path. You're still progressing forward on this path to who you really are, to God, to your real self. I'm still on the path. I thought I had lost my way. I thought I had wandered away to nowhere. But I'm still on the path, still making my way there. And I want you to realize for a moment that, yeah, I lost my way. I took a little detour into despair and doubt. I was walking with my eyes closed. But with your eyes on the path and looking forward, and then I want you in your mind's eye, your spiritual eye, to look up. And I want you to see your certain destiny written there in the stars that God Himself wrote for you. And I want you to look within yourself, and I want you to experience the certainty that says, I will never lose my way again. I know I will never lose my way again. I get it. Because of God, I'll never lose my way again. I get it. I accept it. And in your mind's eye, I want you to kneel down in silence for a moment in your gratitude to God who called you back on the path and made sure you heard Him calling you back. And then your mind's eye, I want you to stand back up, and I want you to begin walking forward, saying to yourself, I know I'll never lose my way again, because I know I don't walk alone. God is here, and with God, all my brothers. And I want you to imagine yourself walking forward into your newborn life. A life that has been newly born. A life where your real self thrives. And as at home. What would that world be like? What would it look like? What would it feel like? I want you to walk into it with the morning star of this new year shining upon it. And I want you to bathe in that light for a moment. And I want you to breathe in your newborn life. And I want you to go out and meet your newborn self that was waiting for you all the while. Radiant, free, happy, and creating. And say hello. And just breathe that new life and that new world in. Breathe in the confidence and the certainty of your real self that lives in your newborn life. Breathe in the certainty and the confidence of your real self. Your newborn and yet ancient self. Feel its certainty of worth. Feel its certainty of purpose. Feel its joy of being free from doubt. This is you. Breathe it in. Breathe in your real self. Accept it. Welcome it. And just breathe. Beautiful. When you're ready, just bring your awareness back to the room and your body. Sit in the chair. Thank you guys for being here. Happy, happy, happy New Year. Give it up for yourselves. Being here. Yay. Yay us. Yay truth.